Hello, my name is Carter Halbrooks, and today I will be discussing iambic pentameter. Iambic pentameter is a form of meter or rhythm in poetry that has had a long and varied history from ancient Greece around the mid-6th century BC all the way to the contemporary. And in this long and varied history, it has undergone no transformations except when it reached the English language and the history of English language poetry, especially during the late Renaissance and early Elizabethan era in England, and most commonly known to students especially, whether they liked it or not, in Shakespeare's sonnets. For example, "Shall I compare thee to a summer's day" is one very famous sonnet. Um, and that line that I just spoke is in iambic pentameter. Now, this meter is formed or composed of 10 syllables. Each foot in technical poetic vocabulary is made up of 2 syllables, which in this case would mean that there are 5 feet in this line. Each foot is composed of an unstressed followed by a stressed syllable. Now I can describe it musically in this form: ti-tum, 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 ti-tum. Now, in that sense, I have just given you a musical or rhythmic uh, translation of a line, and here I will give you the example from Shakespeare's sonnet. "Shall I compare thee to a summer's day?" Now here there is actually it's very subtle, in fact, but that's what gives the iambic pentameter such dexterity and such elasticity and and power in the English language, because we are doomed in some sense to stress and unstress our syllables due to the nature of our language and the way we speak and the way we pronounce our words. Now, the iambic pentameter has actually become one of the most, or became the most dominant meter due to its brief line, its short 5-syllable line, 5 feet line, compared to, say, the Alexandrine, which is a 6-foot line, or a hexameter. You can have an iambic hexameter, but it doesn't exactly have the same feeling that the pentameter does. Now, this pentameter does have some room. There's room to maneuver, because in one sense you could have a very metrical, very heavy rhythm line, and then you can have a lighter line or a more gracious line. A lot of Shakespeare's sonnets contain lines of the stanzas that are very subtly rhythmic, but do abide by the rules of the iambic pentameter. The iamb and the pentameter are both Greek words. They come from ancient Greece around the 6th century BC, due to a tradition of insult poetry, in fact, or lyrical insult poetry. And it found in that era the iamb, that foot that we discussed, had a punchiness to it that allowed it kind of an aggressive, pugilistic feel out there, and and with an audience especially. And that, although at that time it was more musical and thus quantitative, in that sense it actually did have a note value. It had a length of speech duration, which translated much later in English to stresses, because we don't generally elongate unless we're making a really important point. We generally just put stress on certain words, certain words. For example, certain words has in itself 3 syllables, each one unstressed, stressed, and unstressed. Now, that is my introduction to the iambic pentameter. There's a lot more to say, but I hope you enjoyed my video, and thank you very much for your time.